Good evening, everyone. So excited to have you on our Zoom tonight. And this is Julie White from Pennsylvania. And we're just excited that we have a special guest on here tonight. And her name is Kathleen Troust. And she's an amazing LifeVantage leader. She's a Pro 7. She's been in LifeVantage for 5 years. She's a doctor of physical therapy, and I love physical therapy. She specializes in myofascial release, which is awesome. She's been involved in health and fitness for over 20 years, and she has she's a home birth mom of 2 boys. And I posted a picture of her family, so you got to see her little boys. And I just want to welcome you all tonight, give you all a warm welcome. And Kathleen, I want to give you a warm welcome. I'm just honored and privileged that you're willing to share your knowledge and experience with us tonight. And so I'm going to turn it over to you and let you share. She's going to share tonight on the invite, which is one of our gateway skills in doing this business. And then at the end, we'll do some Q&A. So I'll turn it over to you, Kathleen. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Julie. And thank you for inviting me to this tonight. It is really an honor. And truthfully, every month I have a goal of doing at least 3 collaborations with somebody cross-line. And because it is really important to give back and not just, so focused on the people that like very directly financially benefit us, but how we can give back to LifeVantage, because at the end of the day, that global profit sharing thing, that elite bonus pool, means that the bigger LifeVantage grows, the more money we all make, and we have this collaborative environment. Very cool. There's somebody that's not muted for everybody.
Yes. My apologies. Let me go ahead and mute the lines. Okay. Kathleen, you'll have to unmute your microphone, please.
Here we go. Now I have to unmute. So I am excited to talk about the invite tonight. When Julie invited me to come on, I just said, well, is there a topic? And she says, well, are you working with the app yet? And I'm like, I can't even get my head around it. All I can do right now with the app is take a look at my current volume compared to last month's volume at the same time. So that's what I'm using it for. I haven't really delved into it because I find that my strength really lies in that, like, verbalizing and connecting with people one-on-one versus just technology. It takes a lot longer for me to create a relationship through Facebook. It's happened. And in fact, I have a call tonight that has started out through Facebook and a connection there and blah, blah, blah. So it's happening. I haven't used the app yet. So I said, well, listen, the invite, I really love the invite. I have been mentored by one of the best trainers in network marketing. Her name is Marcy Steiner. If you've ever had a chance to listen to some of her stuff, you could probably find it on YouTube. She's wonderful. But before I go into that, just so you know a little bit about me and how I even ended up here, just, divine intervention, I would say that. It was my realtor, who's now selling our house now, 5 years later, who introduced this to me at a birthday party. And you know what he said to me as he was leaving my surprise birthday party? He said, I've got a business opportunity for you. And then left, just like literally just walked out the door. And he really had no idea that as a mom, I was just really praying for something that I could do where I could create income with my kids around me. I'm the mom that I wrapped my babies up in that ergo, and they slept with me in my bed, and we nursed until 2.5 years old. And I mean, I'm kind of this urban crunchy mom, and the last thing I wanted to do was leave them to go treat patients, even though that is what I'm good at. I'm passionate about the work, especially myofascial release. It's amazing. Just check it out. But, he had no idea. He had no idea. And we really never know, when you share with somebody what might be going on. And so, he sent me that ABC News clip, and I am 20 years into health and fitness, was completely surprised I had never heard of this. And then I went to a meeting. I'm one of those people, okay, who I called him. I'm like, how do I find out more about this? I'm like going at it. I was, if you could have invited me to this business, you'd be like, oh my gosh, somebody who was like looking for a meeting. And that was me. And I went and got some incredible testimonials, what was happening for people. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like this could be that thing that could help that patient of mine who's been in pain for 2 years. And, MFR just helps so much. So I happened to find out my sister was a distributor. So unfortunately for him, when I found that out, I enrolled under my sister and I just started sharing. I just started sharing. Who started sharing, who started sharing, who started sharing. And I had never done anything like this before. But Marcy Steiner was like 2 levels above me, and she kind of took me under her wing and really taught me the ropes. And I can tell you my first invite looked something like this. So what do you know about network marketing? And I'm kind of looking at this network marketing thing. What do you think? And the person who I invited, like, I've tried that before, definitely not for me. It's stuff. And I'm like, okay. And then I got some training. And one thing that Marcy Steiner taught me is this. And she teaches our whole team this. There's only 2 things that if you can do these well, you can build this business. And you probably don't need to invite 100 people a month if you can do this well. Invite and introduce. Invite and introduce. Invite and introduce. And if you can have a good invite and you know what you're going to say to somebody that has a clear message and a clear request and is genuine and creates an openness for somebody, and then you truly know how to connect them to bridge them to somebody else and edify both them and your business partner, you're good. And that's all I did. I did that over and over and over and over and over again until I started building a team, and then I started being that third-party advisor. So I wanna before I go into, I can happily share kind of my general invite that really launched my business, but I want to open it up and just see if anyone has any specific questions or ever feels like they get stuck when they invite somebody. I always look at, the initial outreach to intentionally connect with somebody, and then you connect with them, and then you invite them, and then there's what happens after that, and then there's the exposure to the business, and then there's a follow-up. Like somewhere in that funnel, people either experience flow or they get stuck somewhere. And so I can always tell if somebody's invite is off, if they're inviting a lot of people and not exposing a lot of people. So I just want to open it up and see if anyone has any specific questions about the invite or any difficulties with the invite, anything that's happening for you when you invite people, any responses you're getting that I can address. I hear somebody on mute.
Okay, it's me. And hey, that's very great, Kathleen. And so I have a question for you. How does your invite change with different people or different interests, and how do you tailor, or do you tailor your invite, or do you just have a blanket invite that you give to all people? Maybe you could address the different people and their different perspectives and how you adjust yourself.
That's a great question. So, we all start out with our warm market, and I would encourage everybody to do that. I mean, I have somebody that joined in our organization recently. She's like, I'm only working the cold market. I'm kind of like, I don't even know how to coach. Hold on, there's some background noise. So I would say if you were starting with your warm market, somebody that knows you, okay, somebody that knows maybe what you do for a living. I went to those people and I said, and take notes on this, because this is one of the most masterful invites that honestly works all the time. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted by the background noise. If there's a couple people unmuted, it's just like throwing me off a little bit. Okay, thanks. I would say a transitional question. So say I call somebody and I like to text first and say, hey, I have something I want to run by you. I'll just text, can I call you at 8 o'clock? So there I'm like kind of setting up the invite, right? I know it's been a million years. I got to run something by you. Can I call you at 8 o'clock tonight? Okay, just speaking the truth. And then chat a little bit. And then of course somebody's going to turn around and say, well, what is it you wanted to run by me? Well, listen, Catherine, somebody I invited last week. You know how I've been a physical therapist for 13 years now, right? And I love that transitional question because often what I'll hear people when coaching people on the invite, they'll just go right into the invite and say, so I just started this business and I'm really excited about it. And are you open to a business opportunity? This thing is so amazing and blah, blah, blah. It's like one long sentence and the person's like, it's like jarring. They don't even know what hit them. So I love the transitional question just to bring somebody into a space of listening. Like if I asked, hold on, who's on here? Gary and Betty. Gary, if I said, what's your birthday, Gary? He has to unmute first.
My birthday is October the 24th.
All right. So when I ask a question, you have to kind of pause and stop thinking about whatever you were doing, rushing around your house, and you had to answer the question. So that transitional question is really great to get everybody into a listening space to what you're about to say, right? All right. Could you press mute again?
Right.
Sorry. Thank you. So you had to pause. So you know I've been a physical therapist for 13 years now. Well, listen, I was unexpectedly introduced to a business opportunity that just blew my mind. And I'm going for it. I'm doing this, outside of physical therapy. And I'm in the process of lining up business partners to launch it with. And I thought of you because, you are like a magnet for people. And you have such a passion of serving people and your work in the homeless community. I'm so much admiration of that. And, I know you have a passion for healthcare. Okay, so there's a compliment there. So how would you feel, let's see, hold on, I see somebody on here who I know. Barbara Dickey. How would you feel if I said, Barbara, you are such like a shining light. Every time I see your posts on Facebook, I just feel so happy. And, so I thought of you when I decided to launch a new business. How would you feel?
I would feel that you had something of value because you were drawing me in.
Yeah, like I'm really telling you why I want to invite you. Because, we get to be a little bit picky here in this business. We don't have to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry in our business. If you can invite well, you don't need to invite somebody that you're not willing to pick up the phone at 11 o'clock at night for when they're running for Pro 5, okay?
Well, and what's funny about that is I'm sitting here with Rose Anthony, and her husband was every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and so we're chuckling here because you never know when you're going to get a funny started, and that actually does build something.
Absolutely. That can happen, that can happen along the way. I've met some amazing people along the way who I just had like a connection, just a light connection with. And I'm like, hey, are you open? But, when we're dealing with our warm market, it's good to know why you're inviting. And it leaves somebody very open, like, wow, like they feel, what's the word? Kind of honored that you invited them. So you're asking the question, are you open to taking a look at a business opportunity with me? And what are they going to say? They're going to say, what is it? Right? They're going to say, what is it? Or they're either going to say, well, yeah, what is it? Or they're going to say, what is it? One or the other. So I'd like to turn around and say, okay, hold on. So are you saying that you're open to taking a look at doing something? Well, yeah, I like to wait for that yes. Okay, that gives me permission to say, well, listen, ABC News did a primetime investigative report on this. It's kind of a dated news clip, but it's the start of our story. And I want to schedule a time where we can watch it together. I built my business on the phone, to tell you the truth. I live near DC. It's hard to get around. People don't want to go out. So I did most of my business building over the phone. Now we use Zooms a lot more. But then I was just doing that. Let's schedule a time where we can watch this news clip on the phone. And I'm just getting started, so my business partner can join us and explain what we're doing in relationship to the news clip. And you can see if it resonates for you. I like that word resonate. Not everybody would resonate with the word resonate. So whatever works for you. And that is how I built my business. That invite can be individualized to everybody. For instance, I was introduced to a business opportunity and this thing is huge. Or I was introduced to a business opportunity and I got really excited. Or I was introduced to a business opportunity and I felt hope for the first time in my life. Whatever it is you felt when you found LifeVantage is what you should say. There's never anything that anybody has to make up. And that, you know, at the end of the day, when I'm coaching people, I'm like, I want to ask you, what is the truth? What is the truth? And share your truth without giving so much information that it actually does a disservice to the person. Because right when you start talking too much, they get like overwhelmed. They're like, I couldn't do what they did. So keeping it really simple is a key part of the invite, to just bring them to the exposure. It doesn't mean that it's going to be for them, but you're just looking for people that are looking at it from an open place. They know they're looking at a business, and you can go from there. And so, Kurt, you asked me like differentiating between different scenarios. That's my warm market invite if somebody knows me. A cold, I love your techniques in open. Aw, thank you. Thanks, David. In a cold market, well, I never invite anybody. Nobody's a cold person by the time I invite them. I will say that, okay? I'm not calling anybody that I don't know and doing what Maria Williams did to find Mark Gordon. I just haven't done that. But if I'm at a bar with my husband and we're having dinner and drinks and we're talking to the bartender, that bartender is now my warm market if I've developed a relationship with him. If I'm talking to somebody in the gym locker room, I'm a total gym rat. I've met a couple of business partners just at the gym, just talking to people. They become a warm market. And then maybe it's like, hey, listen, based on what you're talking about, you know, I'm running out right now, but based on something you said, I'm wondering if you might be open to taking a look at this business that I'm involved with. Based on something you said, ties it all together, okay? So never, you know, you don't need to make it that cold person becomes your warm person when you recognize, and they recognize you listen to something they said. I was sharing, I met a woman, my kids are in swim lessons all of July, and I met this woman because our kids were in the same swim lessons, and we just started to get to know each other. I just wanted to get to know this lady, and I'm always kind of like feeling out who I'm resonating with in general. Who am I liking spending time with? And of all the people at the pool, that all of July, this woman was one of them. And turns out she was a hospice nurse. She has 3 kids. She's also kind of a natural mama. And, you know, she was one of those people that I was taking my vitality stack right next to her. She said, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I actually work with a publicly traded company, a biotech company that has some products in the nutrigenomics field. I was like, are you familiar with that? Oh, no. And then I said, well, tell me about you. Flip it and start asking more questions about that person. Turned out that she has some autoimmune things and she has done the elimination diet with different foods and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't say a word. I said, well, listen, ABC News did this news clip on this company I'm working with. I said, but take a look at this. I had, we have a Health Evolution group. We call it Health Evolution. It's our products and education Facebook group. And if you're not part of one, I encourage you to be part of one that you can use to add people to. So they're reading people's testimonials. And I said, oh my gosh, you have to read this. And I gave her a story, compliance story, because we never say Protandim or little yellow pill in our posts. I said, you know, what happened to this woman who has autoimmune stuff? And so I kind of had a third part. It was like an invite. Well, that product share eventually turned into a business share because I said, hey, one day, I'm just curious, are you open to taking a look at this as a business? I said, we're having a meeting at our clinic in 2 nights, you know, would you be interested in coming? Really amazing people. You know, not sure if it's for you, but are you open? And she's like, yeah, I'm always open. So, you know, Kurt, you ask a good question. In the very beginning of the business, I didn't fluctuate from that invite, almost never, because I didn't have the skills to just have it roll off the tip of my tongue. But as you're in this business and you practice and practice and practice and practice, and you know, it's like you become like an artist a little bit, and you know when to work those strokes and how it can come out. But in the beginning, I kept it very, very consistent. So does that help, Kurt? Where are you, Kurt? I don't see your face.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. And so, you know, that invite, Marcy Steiner will say, and she is an amazing mentor, and she helped me get here immensely. She says, if people are struggling with exposures, 99% of the time, if you tweak that invite a little bit and work with your sponsor or work with somebody who's comfortable coaching you here, tweak that invite to make sure that you're actually sharing the information that's clear. That's clear. Sometimes, and I'll say some of the biggest mistakes in invites are this. Would you look at what I'm doing? Will you look at what I'm doing? Like, will you do me a favor and just look at my business? And of course, anybody that likes you will be like, sure, I'll look at your business. They're like doing you a favor. And so what will happen often, maybe you get lucky and they see it and they're like, oh my gosh, what is this? But you get on the phone with your third party and the person's like, so what is it you guys want from me? Like, they're clueless as to why they're there. So if you want to have a qualified person on the phone that's looking at the information from a place of a potential opportunity, you know, you're going to have a much better three-way call. So those little tweaks in the invite saying, are you open to looking at doing something versus are you open to looking at it, are two very different questions. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. Just looking for some nodding. So I hope that was helpful. Just, you know, I think that's a big part of my success. That's where my strength is actually just inviting, and you never have to make anything up. If I can share this, you never have to lie or manipulate. You just need sometimes to tweak a word or two because the person on the other end of that invite might be hearing something different than what you think you're saying. So just make sure if you are having any challenges there that somebody in your upline can listen to what you're saying. Maybe do like a call together so they can hear your invite.
Okay, very good. Does anybody else feel free we got a few more minutes to ask any questions. So unmute yourself and then go ahead and ask any questions. Thank you so much.
That is so helpful, Kathleen. I can begin to see where my gaps are in my invite. And even that just little small, are you interested in doing? You know, that little precise description and just being real about it. I think it happened to me for the first time just this last Saturday. I was on a flight back from Tampa, and I chatted with a stranger, and she said back to me, she says, you just made chills go up and down my arms. And she was looking for answers with her autistic daughter. And I said, well, have you ever considered about an increase of glutathione? And that one study where they proved by the data that it increases your glutathione by 300%. And she then said something back to me, and I said, oh my, you just made chills go up and down me. So in about 1 minute, a cold contact became a real warm one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's two things. I heard you say, first of all, that's so awesome. And I love meeting people on airplanes and travel because some of the most amazing conversations come out of that. So when you're hearing somebody talk about their pain and you're like, you know, have you ever heard of glutathione and how you could do that? I love the question, if there was something that could do that, would you want to know about it? Okay, think about people that you might work with or you go to church with, whatever, constantly complaining about their pain. And you said, if there was something that might help you with that I know, I know about, would you want me to tell you? Okay, you know they're open if they say yes. And if they're like, oh, nothing can help me, I'm doomed. Okay, I'm telling you, they could put 5 protanums in their body every day and they probably won't feel better. Okay? Because it's here. Like their mind has overridden their desire to actually feel better. I'm just saying. I work with chronic pain. I've been working in this industry for a long time. So I love that question. If I knew something, would you want me to tell you about it? That's a great scenario.
I keep telling myself, what can I do to raise that person's perceived value? And some people have a very small perceived value in their own health.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said something else too, and I just want to point this out because it's such a slight tweak, but I'm so used to hearing it, that even asking the question, are you open to doing something with me, is actually not the question. You're really looking for, are you open to taking a look at doing something with me? I mean, that's just the words I say, but you see, like, it's just those little tweaks. It says a different thing because it's kind of like if you're saying, "Are you open to doing something with me?" It's kind of like, "Will you marry me before we date?"
Right.
And that can put people on the defensive. So if you're finding people are like, "Oh no, this," it might be that little thing, like, "Are you open to taking a look?" Because there's no risk in that, right?
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah. And again, I know everybody has to kind of find their own invite. You could really apply this coaching to anything you're saying.
Very good. Any other questions?
I have a question, Kathleen.
Sure.
I am knee deep in clients, and I mean knee deep in clients and court and all kinds of stuff, and looking at how to make the transition to use your time so you have time to do this. I've been really working with that Facebook page, several pages that I'm working at, but boy, some days it's like keeping track of people and transitioning from what you do. It's similar to what I do, but yet very different than what I do. And there's so many pieces.
Absolutely. Well, I actually decided to take a sabbatical this year because, and I actually kind of claimed that the month before I went Pro 7. So sometimes we have to like really claim what we want before it happens. We have to make space for it. And for me, I don't know, I think it was energetically tied. But I do have a lot of practitioners in my business that are, they own their own practices, they work full time. And so they do share this with their patients, but I would say their patients are about 10% of their business, volume wise. It's like, hey, listen, if there's something natural that could help you reduce your oxidative stress, that inflammation, that's probably affecting your pain, or oxidative stress is linked to depression. Would you be interested in that? Would you want to know more about that? Right? That's just a patient question. And, I'm probably not going to set up every single patient with a third party call and doing all that. It's like that. We built our business, like all the practitioners in my business that are, Pro 4s, Pro 5s, Pro 6s, they've done it by reaching out to their peers and professionals and actually like recruiting up, looking for business partners. That's where the leverage lies. So if you feel like you're swimming in just like customers, prospects and customers, like target people that you are looking to partner with in business, because that's where the leverage is. Because while you're with clients, you want people out there, building their business. That's how you do it when you're really busy. You look for business partners to get it going.
Thank you.
My recommendation.
Kathleen, I really love how you have done all these little tweaks. I think they're awesome. And I'm just thinking here, now you said that you look for people that you resonate with. So are there certain qualities that the people have that you're looking for as well?
Absolutely. And we have this really wonderful exercise that we do. Oh my gosh, where is it? It might be right. Oh my gosh. Well, you can tell me, I don't know how long this is going to go. This could be pretty quick, but I could at least give you guys these questions. How to attract your perfect business partner. Would anybody be interested in those questions?
Sounds awesome.
Yes.
Definitely.
Everyone.
Marcy is very into energy and law of attraction. I'm really big into the law of attraction and manifestation, and you know. So here's some really great questions. And if you have like a piece of paper, you want really 4 columns, and we don't have to go through the whole exercise. I'll just give you the questions and you can fill it out, because it helps you get really clear about who you're looking for. And so that when that person does show up in your life, sitting next to you on an airplane, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like they've got some of those qualities I wrote down on this paper. I want to develop a relationship with whatever. So the first question is, what are the qualities, characteristics, and if anyone wants to text this into the little chat, maybe that'll be helpful. What are the qualities, characteristics, and attributes of my perfect business partner? Okay. Now, I'll just tell you some things I have. Very excited about the science. They're educated. They're savvy with social media. They're confident. They have money to attend events. Okay. Thank you, David. They're magnetic. They're resilient. They can bounce back from when things get rocky. They're integrous with their time and their word. They're consistent, confident, and they love to receive money. Okay, they don't have a block to receiving money. Do you know anyone that has a block to receiving money? They like feel bad about it. That, you know, it's hard to work with people in a business that's designed to increase income if they're blocked to making money. So that's a good thing to write down on that attribute you might be looking for. All right, so the second question is, what makes my perfect business partner tick? What motivates them? And just for an example, I'll write down some things that I wrote. Money. They are motivated by money. They're motivated by leading people. They're motivated by building teams and personal growth. I mean, personal growth, peeps, if I see people quit when the personal growth becomes too hard. And you can't get to the top without incredible personal growth. So they've got to be motivated by that. And they're motivated by the fact that we have unique products. These are just some things on my list, but I want to give you an example. What motivates them? Okay. And I love that question, because then, you know, part of what we do as leaders is we recognize qualities in other people that would make them good leaders. So you might be able to recognize, wow, what could I invite that person to participate in that's linked to something that motivates them, right? So you don't have to motivate people, you just have to like hone in on what motivates them and then empower them in that space. All right, the third question is, what do I want my perfect business partner to expect from me? Okay. So I expect my partner to not expect me to do everything myself. And they expect weekly coaching from me. If I enroll them, that they could expect that from me. And that I could teach them how to present. So there's just some things I'm like, okay, I'm setting up that expectation. And that I'm also going to be at every event. If I enroll somebody, I'm going to set the example of how to build this business by being at every event. Speaking of events, I'm hosting the LifeVantage Academy in Bethesda, Maryland on Saturday, and we have Pro 8 Kai Hayes. Wait, is she Pro 8? Pro 8, Pro 7, or Pro 8. She just won the Life Venture recently. She's coming in from Texas. She's amazing. Her husband had stage 3 brain cancer, an amazing story. But she will be here on Saturday, so make sure you get your tickets and join us there if you are, you know, within vicinity. And the fourth question is, what personal qualities can I enhance to attract my perfect business partner? Because we all have to grow. We all might have to get better at some things in order to attract that person we're looking for, right? So don't expect to attract somebody who attends all the events if we're not going to all the events. So we might have to like get real about what we're committed to doing. And so for me, I just said, I need to get better at being open to feedback and being flexible and open-minded. Sometimes I can get a little stuck in getting feedback. Things like that. I'm not going to give you my whole list of things I need to improve, but there's a list, okay? You guys know yours. And so that's the exercise. And you know, you can always go back to it and fine tune it and add some things. I feel like this is like dating, if you remember dating. You know, you date somebody and then it doesn't work out and you're like, oh, you know, I think there's this other quality that's important that I should consider in the next person that I date that this person didn't have. And we can continue to add that to our list of people that we want to attract into the business.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Any questions about that? I love that exercise. I've done it many, many times to get more and more clear about who I'm looking for so I can recognize them when I meet them.
I see David type them out. Thank you, David. Okay, well, that was awesome information. I just so appreciate having you on here, Kathleen, and I just love how natural and real you are and sharing from your heart. And I can just tell that you're a wonderful leader and you're really committed and dedicated to helping people. I love how, you know, what did you say you're trying to do like 3 times a month or something, that you're working, helping other people besides your team? That's really awesome. Yeah, I haven't heard anyone say that before, and I think that's really awesome. That just shows that you have a great heart, you know, that you're not just thinking about yourself, you know, and that's beautiful.
Well, here, can I be really honest with you guys? I do think about myself a lot. I'm not naturally overly generous, okay? Like my love language is not service. It feels like shameful. It's just not. And so I have to be like intentional about it and not feel like I don't have enough time, you know, to help out here. Because I can it's so gratifying right now being on this call and seeing everybody on here. It's 27 people on here. It's very fulfilling for me, and I know it's part of all of our growth to believe in abundance. And that's what feels really good for me. So it doesn't come naturally. It's very intentional. I encourage you to try it if anyone can relate to what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like what you said. It doesn't come natural to you. So you have determined to work on it, and it seems very natural to you.
Thank you. Well, it's on that fourth question, right? What I need to enhance, which is just generosity. Generosity in this business will pay you back, you know, tenfold. It's awesome. So thank you for reaching out to me, Julie and Kurt. Where are you? Thanks for having me on here. And I'm just gonna sit back, and I don't know what you guys do after this, but I'd love to listen in. You guys clearly have an amazing leader here, Julie, and I love it's just nice. Are you guys all from Pennsylvania?
No.
No, from all over the place. Anyway, you have great leaders, great leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, what we are doing next is we're inviting people to, Gabe Pearson has a webinar at 9 p.m. And so we have just a few minutes to text the people that we've invited to that webinar. He has a doctor on there tonight. And so I just want to thank everyone for just staying plugged in. And next week, we're going to be doing something new here on our team Zoom. We're actually going to be collaborating from here on out, starting next week, with our upline. So Mark and Krista Harris and Jackie Shepard are also going to be joining us on these Zooms. And we have a special guest again next week, but Mark is actually going to be hosting. And so it's pretty exciting. We're going to have more people on our Zoom, and we're going to be just getting to know the people on our team better. So I'm really happy about that. We'll be getting an email from Jackie about that. So look for that in your virtual office. And just want to thank you all for joining us, and hope you can get on the Zoom at 9 p.m. And have a wonderful, wonderful week. And Kathleen, again, thank you so much. It was just a delight and pleasure to have you on here. You did a fantastic job, and we all benefited from your hacks. You had some great hacks on how to do the invite. So thanks so much. All righty. Bye-bye, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.